Thirsty for Knowledge Thursday, our weekly webinar series that's brought to you by the Aries Foundation for Financial Education, Inc. What we're going to be talking about this evening is how to talk to your kids about money. It's never too early to teach your kids the value of money. The reason we say that is research shows that you can actually start having that conversation, as early as age 3. At age 3, they have learned to count. Certainly by age 4, the child is getting the concept of, if I go into a store and I'm buying something, I've got to be able to there's a transaction that's involved with that. As they get a little bit older, say like 5 or 6, then we get into the situation of the child now understands that if they go into the store and they want to get something, they have to pay for it. That there's a trade-off of goods and services there that go along with it. Certainly age 7, age 8, they'll start to get the sense of value. And then, when we get to be 9, 10 years old, then we start having the conversation about they can understand saving for things. The earlier we start to have the conversation, get them comfortable with the idea of money, the value of money, and saving money, the better off they're going to be later in life. One of the things is trying to get the child to understand that they need to work to earn money. And whether that's chores around the house, yard work, these are certainly jobs that can be done that allows them to get the sense of, I did something and I'm earning for it. This is 5 steps to save more money. And one of those is to record your expenses, about tracking what you spend and making sure that you understand what you're spending, how you're spending it, where you're spending it. Next one is what's in your buckets. 3 buckets when we talk about saving for an adult. That's short-term bucket, which is emergency reserves. The mid-term bucket, which is that, vacation or upgrade to your transportation or something like that. And then bucket number 3 is the longer term. If you have a young child, that might be education. For yourself, it might be retirement. Reduce your spending, everybody, is that, is don't sweat the small stuff. Find that larger item that you might be spending that's more discretionary than it is necessary, that you could just take out of the expenses right now, and you'll probably be better off. Treat yourself like a bill. Look, you're great at paying your bills. The problem is you don't pay yourself, and you need to treat yourself like a bill. Set smaller goals, right? Because smaller goals, they help you get better. Even if it's just trying to save like $100 in the next quarter, when you hit that, the psychology behind it is it's a reward. I made it, I did it, I can do this, I can continue to do it. So if you get 3 jars and you put 3 jars out on the dresser or on their bookshelf, and then you're marking them in 3 different types. One is savings, one is spending, and one is giving, right? And that you've got the child with the savings, you got one that they're going to use for spending, and then one that they're going to be using for donation. This is a helpful thing, and you can say, if they've got $1, how they're going to segregate that out. If it ends up being coins, how those coins are going in there. And then they can track it and see what's happening. But it's a very visual, and it helps going through and explaining what each one is for. Where savings is for that longer term, something that they might want to save up for and buy. And then you have spending, which is more of that I'm going to go, I want to buy candy down at the store, or a bag of chips or something like that, something that they're just spending on a regular basis. And then giving is donations. But this is something that will help them grasp the concept of that, wait, my dollar becomes different things, and I don't use the same dollar to do all 3 things. Little steps to big results. So this is about trying to save more from the adult side, but it does sort of convey to the other side as well, which is trying to help them understand the ways to save. One of the things is, for an adult anyway, to try to go out and one day not bring your plastic with you. Just go out and spend only what you have for cash in your pocket. It'll limit how much you can spend because you can only spend what you have for cash if you don't have your credit card or your debit card on you. See a bigger goal, right? Now, we talked before about a smaller goal for helping with the psychology and getting to it, but this is more of the, I've got that, I want to buy a new car, or I want to, get a new phone. Let's say Disney World, like you can show the kid how saving up and saving for that vacation becomes part of the lesson, right? We talked about this. This is just for going into a store. If you go into a store without the list, you in your head, you're only supposed to get 3 or 4 items. You're coming out with 8 or 9. Which brings us to the next part, which is don't use a cart. You want to survey what you buy. This is an important one, I think, to convey to the kids. I've made the selection. Now I want to take a step and just make sure these are the items I need, or that this is what I wanted to buy, right? You want to make sure that you're going through and understanding, and like I said, it's leading by example, letting them see, oh wait, I just don't put something in and buy it. I want to make sure I've got the right item. Let's take 24 hours and think about it. Let's set a time period and say, no, wait, let me just hold off on that, and I'll come back to it in a day or two. And then if I still have the same feeling, urge, want, then I'll buy it, which leads us right into wants versus needs, which is just trying to tell, can I delay and not have to buy it right this moment. This is a good one for kids when they're in the store, right? Because what does the kid do? Like Craig said, anything they can reach for, anything on the shelf, they want it, and they want it now. Now, the whole idea of this is if you are leading by that teaching, showing them by example that you are somebody who is a saver, who's not just, spending crazily and not really thinking about anything, it's a lesson that gets imparted to them. You really have to teach them that the idea is they've got to earn money, and then to earn, in order to spend it, they've got to earn it, and then they've got to learn to save it.
We're really trying to understand what you're spending that money on and why it's important. Because if you use it for this, you can't use it for that.
Right.
So if I buy you a new bike, well then I can't, get you the tickets to the concert, or there's a trade-off because you only have a finite amount of that resource.
This brings up the next part, which Craig just sort of mentioned there a little bit, which is let them make mistakes, right? This just talks a little bit about buyer's remorse, but the idea is that, at some point the kid is probably going to want to use their money to buy something that you will just think is absolutely ridiculous. The lesson is to let them purchase it, but when they do, hold them to it. Let them make the purchase, but just hold them accountable to it. It's okay to let them make those mistakes, especially at an early age with not a lot of expense involved, because they'll be better off for it and learn from that, gee, I worked all summer and I bought this stupid thing, and now, 2 months later, I don't want it anymore. Like, I'm stuck with this thing. So it's a hard lesson to try to keep, to have and to watch them go through, but ultimately they will be better off for it, learning from the mistakes that they made versus having you step in and try to help them or fix it or buy the thing that they actually decided they wanted other than what they purchased.
Have questions? Ask us. We can help with that. You can email Craig at crichardson@aresfoundation.org, or you can visit the website to learn more about what we do and how we might be able to help you. www.aresfoundation.org. Want to see more of this recording? Go to www.aresfoundation.org/events. If you know an organization or community support group that could benefit from one of our workshops, reach out to Tom T. Alessi at aresfoundation.org. Our mission is trying to help everyone have a better relationship with their money.